Good afternoon, everyone. This is Karl F. Rose recording live from Bedford, Pennsylvania on Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. And I just want to talk a little bit about the way the National Football League, the NFL, is evolving, and in particular, the type of quarterbacks. I was watching a Detroit Lions channel, and this is how I found out about Matthew Stafford even having a concussion. I had no idea. I really hadn't been paying attention to the Rams or Matthew Stafford that much this year. But I did talk on earlier another podcast, kind of indicating that the NFL is leaning more toward a more mobile style quarterback, somebody who just doesn't drop back. And I know Matthew Stafford, like other quarterbacks, they can run a little bit, but for the most part, they get banged up. I mean, his time in Detroit, he was getting beaten to just slammed to the ground. There was one game the Vikings sacked him like 10 times, and that's rough. I mean, even though he's a big guy and strong, rough, a body can only take so much of that. So, and that's why the title of the podcast is Matthew Stafford's career over? And we can talk about other people like Aaron Rodgers. Sure, he can scramble and run out of there, but he's still the same thing. And Brady, because of his age, one of these days he's going to get a big injury. So it's something to consider for these quarterbacks because they keep going on. They're liable to get hurt very seriously. It's only because the game is changing, not because any player or players are getting rougher or meaner or anything like that. It's nothing like that. It's just the way that the game is changing, and quarterbacks need to be able to get out of harm's way. Really, that's what it comes down to. So yeah, you saw that Rodgers went out with the Eagles game. I can't remember what happened, but it wasn't a concussion. But he's getting beat around pretty good. He got sacked a few times in the Detroit game, the Lions game. Not a whole lot, but he was getting hit. And haven't heard much about Brady. I don't think he's been really hit. And the thing is with Matthew Stafford is the Rams have just like a terrible offensive line, and that's why it happened. You just can't go on. I mean, he got away from that when he left the Lions, and then he comes to the Rams, and then all of a sudden he's like it's almost like him being back in Detroit again when Detroit had a lousy offensive line, and that's what he's facing now. So can he go on like another 5 or 6 years of getting beat around? I would say no. And then you got to remember, in his particular case, he's dealing with his wife, and I really don't know the situation. If hopefully her cancer is in remission. The last I heard it was, so that's good. But as far as his wife goes, at least they're nearby UCLA, and they have the best cancer center in the country, and I think that's part of the reason why Stafford and his family went to L.A. when they left Detroit. I mean, he had his reasons to leave the Lions, and safety was one of them. But now he's facing that same issue in the Rams, and like it's either they need to really get their line fixed, or if they don't, should he retire? I would hate to see him have just multiple concussions. And as much as I don't like the Cowboys, I remember when Troy Aikman was playing, and he had a number of concussions, and finally he took an early retirement. He couldn't go on anymore, and I think that was probably his wife kind of begging him to get off the field and into the broadcast booth where it's safer. So yeah, it's, too many concussions, and that, it has a bad effect on their particular family. I mean, when the father is just all dinged up because of concussions, and he's not all the way there, there's a terrible thing for a family to go through. But the thing is, the NFL is changing, and one thing I want to point out is with the upcoming draft and what the Lions have. I really, because Jared Goff is kind of the same thing. He's a drop back quarterback, and he's good when he's good. He's good. But when there's no protection for him, he's getting beat around and he's making mistakes and that sort of thing. And again, it's just because the NFL is changing. But with these picks, I think the Lions would be, and I think they're heading this way, but we won't know until until the season's over and we get into the draft and that. But if the Lions have an opportunity in the draft, which I think they will, to get a future franchise quarterback, a mobile style quarterback, I think that would be really important. I think they'll keep Goff on for another year, and that would be the best thing they do, because if they get rid of him now, they're going to take a real big hit on the salary cap thing. So if they keep him around for another year, groom the brand new quarterback in for a year, and then go from there, that would really make sense, as far as I'm concerned anyway, for the Lions. But that's the main thing is we're going to be seeing a lot more mobile quarterbacks, and this is good because there's always going to be injuries, just hopefully not a lot of concussion injuries. With a mobile quarterback, you're going to see more leg injuries, or depending on how they get hit. But the coaches always want them to go, and if they're not going out of bounds when they get past the first down marker, just to go in and slide, and that way they're protected from getting hit in the head. And if an unfortunate situation occurs, whether it's deliberate or accidental, there's still the possibility of getting a helmet to helmet hit, but it's a lot less when the quarterback is sliding, because if there's a helmet to helmet hit when he's sliding, that is more than likely intentional, and then usually the defender gets ejected from the game, and there's not only penalties but fines and suspensions and that sort of thing, which should be the case. So anyway, well, that's really about it, and I just wanted to touch base on this about the quarterback and situation and how the NFL is evolving. So anyway, we will talk to you next time. Have a good day.